This is the FTR Strickland Ranch 2018 Hare Scramble, but actually it's the Mud Bash. As you see, it's nice and dry when we come in on Friday night, and it's I like to show the beginning of all these, so that way you have an idea what it looks like when we drive back into the Hare Scramble races where they all start. And I've never been to the Strickland Ranch. It's way back here. It's further than any other race we have had so far that you have to drive back. And you start out, and it's about a mile back in there. And as we're going across the properties back there, we just saw there were some wild pigs right there, and they're out grazing. And it was there was root hollering all around all this property. There were so many wild hogs. It was just it's really neat to see all that. And right there's all the people lined up coming to come in. We got there right Friday at sunset. I threw in a couple clips. Here's a guy coming around after his first lap. He's coming in, and you can see his motor's overheating, and it's just steaming and smoking. And there's another guy getting ready to go to the chicane areas, but he got stuck right there. And that's what happens throughout the entire race with everybody. It's just mud 6 inches to a foot deep in some places. It was incredible. Now here's the beginning of my race, and that's an angel right there. We've been together since we were 16 years old. It's the beginning, and she's holding my bike. It's pouring down rain, and during the practice, which was just an hour before, there was no rain. Sure enough, we get ready to start the race. It started raining, and it poured, and it rained the entire 2 hours. So there I am on that KTM, the 250 TPI. It's the new fuel injected model bike, and it just, you see, got the whole shot. And one of the biggest things, just an incredible bike. And I also run the tubeless tires in it, so I only run 5 pounds of pressure in it, and those things bite like you wouldn't believe. And those tires really work good. And this, you can see the mud. Now this is the very first lap. This is our very first few corners that we're going through, and thank goodness I got the whole shot, because I had a pair of goggles. I tore off the first tear off before I even got at the start, taking off just to clear them up, and then as soon as I started the first corner, tore off the second one, so all I had was just the basic goggles at that point, which in just a few seconds here, I take the goggles down. I thank goodness I got the whole shot, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to see following all the guys. They were just shooting mud everywhere. And here I slow down, and you just try to take that real tight inside curve, stay out of the mud that's on the right hand side, but stay in the green where you can get some good traction. And during the practice, there were berms set up here in these inside these corners, so you could really lay down and go fast. It was going to be just a great track. Here's the guy. He fell, and he's getting back up now, getting ready to go. And so I'm staying on the green, going through 2 green markers. You have to go through the 2 green markers, and there's a little berm left right there. And still just powering up, trying to stay on the green, slow down, and make sure I don't fall. Because at every corner, there's another guy. And there he is. He fell coming around the corner. It's so easy to do. It's just like, it's just not sand. It's black. It's pasture land, and it's real super slick. And it's just, you just turn your wheel the wrong way or catch the wrong groove, and you're going to go down. So here's the first few corners, and the big pasture area is fast, trying to stay in the green area, like I said before. And I can't tell you. I thought, if it keeps raining, this is just going to be so much fun. And it was so much fun, because we weren't able to do a mud race the whole season so far till now. And boy, we got what we asked for, though. This was mud and just rain 2 hours, and it just didn't stop. It just never stopped at all. That KTM 250 TPI it runs when it's at idle. It's having a mixture of like 200 to 1. It's so slim on oil. And then when you're gassing it and you're up in the higher RPM, it's 38 to 1. It's all computerized. It keeps out. It never smokes. You can bog it down. It's got full power all the time. It never skips. It's just an incredible bike, KTM. It took, I think, 3 or 4 years for them to develop it. So now we go back out, and we're in a little bit of the trails. You can see the rut's starting to form here, and you can see it's starting to get a little tough to ride along. And the water's in there filling up, and it gets filled. So there's rivers you'll soon see where you can't tell if it's 10 feet deep or if it's 6 inches deep. we come back up to a little opening here, and we're just running along, and I come up to my other class, and we're starting to catch up on. And now I've taken the goggles down, and so now I don't have no goggles on. So here's the problem you run into that with a guy's right ahead of me, and if you get too close, right directly behind him, he's going to shoot your face full of mud, and honestly, you won't be able to see because your eyes will be just black dirt in your eyes. And so you stay off the side, and when you get a chance, you gas it hard, go around past it as fast as you can. And I got sprayed one time already out there, and it was a hard time clearing my eye out. It was really hard. It took hours to really get all the dirt back out. And other guys, see, I'm staying out of that mud zone, trying to stay in the grass zone, especially with the traction, and it's working. It's working good. Those low pressure tires are just biting, and they are just going through this mud and holding that bike up. I'm 60 plus years old, so it's like it's hard to go fast at my age, and we are just clicking along here. This old bike is really doing a fantastic job. So I've already passed a couple guys in the rows ahead of me already, and I got a couple more up ahead of me here. And I didn't make this video really long because so much water goes on your lens, and you're trying to keep it clear, and I wipe it off several times, but the mud gets on there and the water gets on there, and it's hard to watch it. This is like our last straightaway here for a while, and then we go back into the woods area, and like I say, this is the first lap. The second lap is just total mud, so thick, so deep. And when we first did this in practice, and you can see there's another gentleman right ahead of me there now. He's doing really good, but if you stay in the mud tracks, you don't have the traction. And so I'm just going back and forth out of the mud tracks, trying to get a good bite, and that's where you get all the traction and you can do some passing. But during the practice area, there was a hard and a easy area. When the hard area went up a little hill and all, and it was really great. I knew it was going to be fun. But by the time the race started, the first lap, they'd already taken that out because the mud got so thick everywhere. Everybody's lap times were like 50 minutes long. It just you couldn't do more than 2 laps. It was just you were just crawling along, trying to make it through, trying to get through there. And so the people they closed off that area right away. And I'm coming up on another guy here, and it's battling to try to stay out of that mud. It is just so muddy. And also I'm trying to make sure I don't get sprayed with it. So I wait a second, and then I try to shoot around if I can, try to stay in that good clean area. But I get around them on the outside and think they'll let me by really easy. And you don't want to rush them, because if you rush it really hard, then they may turn the last minute and you get hooked up, and it's bad when you crash into another guy and then you both go down. And then you got 2 bikes and the handlebars going to spokes, and it sometimes can be really, really tough. But I'm working my way on up here right now, and so I still have my first place, which is good. I needed first place in this race, and I need first in the next race if I can even get it. So I'm going to try really hard. But this weather we can look out for this coming week is going to be a 90% chance of rain. So I think we're going to have another muddy run. But like I say, it is fun. It's so different, and you can't hardly go fast. But you take your eyes off for a second and look to the right, and then your front tire gets rutted, and then I took the inside course right there. I was able to pass that guy right there. That was a great turn right there. But there's all these little shortcuts, so you got to keep an eye out to try to get going in there. And you can see now there's got a bunch of guys piled up, and you can see the ditch on the left-hand side, and actually that ditch was only 6 inches deep. And on the second lap, I just stayed in the whole ditch and rode all the way through there, and that's where actually the best traction was, because nobody else was riding in the water. But we come up on these next guys here, and like I say, you can't get too close to them, otherwise you get sprayed with mud. And I didn't want to get all my head to toe black mud, but you'll see actually at the end of the race I'm just about as black as that mud in front of you there. But I got the outside path there and on that turn, and I got some momentum going, so it was a good pass there too. And you see now I'm just trying green to green, going back and forth, and trying to stay right out, not behind somebody, to stay out of that mud track, and I holler a little bit, and they let me go right on by, which is really nice. And now that here on this green pasture right there on the side, I realized, I missed my turn. So I can't. I got to make sure that it's green. So I had to go underneath tape and go. And there goes the guy. There goes Roland. And Roland he's on my line, but he's over 66 plus class. And so he went by, and I'm thinking if I can just stay with him, I'll probably do well in this race because that guy goes so fast. But you see, he's already starting to walk away. Now another guy comes up right next to me, and I look over to see if he's in my class, and he's not. But as I look over to the right, well then I wasn't paying attention, and there I go. Just down I went, right in the mud. And I'm thinking, oh no, I got to get up right away because I know the other guys in my class are coming. If they pass me, then I'm going to lose my first place spot. So I get up. I didn't lose anything yet, so I'm still in the ball game, running really hard here. And but it takes a lot out of you to fall, even one little easy fall like that. But it was mud, so it was pretty soft, and getting mud all over you. Oh, it's really cool little bridges there, and those bridges with mud on top of them were super slick. So you went slow. There's a guy who fell, and he's there trying to straighten out his handlebars and his forks out because they were crooked. So he was stopped there trying to get that straightened out. And now there's an FTR guy. They're rerouting everybody because the mud was so thick that direction. But you can see how thick it is right there. Now it's all black muck, and it's hard to go. I'm just going back and forth because I don't want to get in that rut. If you get in a rut, then you'll just sink right down there and you'll almost stop. So here's the gentleman up ahead, and really great. I take a couple inside lines and try to stay out of this course, and I get right by him. And that worked out pretty good. Now, this is like my second lap now, so we're just rolling along, and so far, I still have first place. But Roland's way ahead of me. I can't catch him, but he's not in my class anyways. But he's on that same row. It's nice if I can catch up to somebody. And I do catch up to him later on at the very last part, which doesn't show it on this because my camera quit because it was such a long race. I almost went to Palmetto's right there. I got hung up one time in a Palmetto's, but didn't fall over, but just got hung up. I couldn't go anywhere. And I just turned, and it just spun me around, and up in there I went, and I had to work it out. Oh, there's a guy. He went around the corner and just kept going around the corner like I did before, and he just went down. And you can see how black it was. It was pretty black. And that was an A rider who just went by me. And you look at him and you think, it looks like he's going on just plain cement. He's going so fast. It's just scooting by like crazy. And I don't know how to do it. So now I get behind this gentleman here, and I should have passed him. Step there. I look over there on the left, and there's James. James just went by me, and he is in my class. So he just took first place away from me. And so I'm thinking, oh no, I've got to gas it up. I got to find another gear and get going here. I can't be slacking. It's my last lap. I only got maybe 3 or 4 more miles to go. So I pass this guy, get back there, and there's James right there. I am catching up to him. So he's in the mud zone right there, and I'm on the outskirts, but there's no real good place here at all because everything's just full of mud. And I stopped because I didn't want to get sprayed. He was shooting out 10-foot roosters there. So as I keep going there, I see there's a little bit of opening up ahead, and he goes to the right, and I just lean back on the back tire and put all the weight there and just gassed it. You see that there's white sand there, and that white sand, you see it's not slippery at all. And got some whoops, so it's the only place you got really good traction. But he goes to the right here, I follow him, and then I see a little spot, and I go to the left, and he goes to the right, and I'm able to get past him right there and stay out of those ruts, and I got back in between the two greens there. And he goes behind me, and then I don't see him the rest of the race, but he was right behind me. If I would have stopped or fell, I think he would have passed me. So I was lucky to be able to get ahead of him on this race. He was flying through the woods. So we're coming out here, and we're back to the last few straightaways for the whole race. You see everybody's in raincoats, FTR people just killing it. I don't know how they stood out there in the pouring down, trenching rain like they did. It never stopped raining the entire time. And it was just like, wow. And then I look over, and there's James again. Somehow he got thrown out on a mud corner and got screwed by. And I came by, and here shows you how thick the mud is. You can see there's the guy's bike, and it's totally buried. That's me after the race. That's when I finished up. And this is what it's like driving the RV out, and it's just mud road right there. But we made out. It was a blast. Ended up with the first. Thanks for watching. See y'all next week. Bye.